Is stress ever useful? Can it be our friend?
Yes, 100%.
How come? Michael, it's a big question, but how can we best reduce stress?
I think that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How I like to look at stress is maybe a bit different. So reducing it is not always the best thing.
Why is that?
Because stress is an integral part of our human experience. We survived with stress for a long period of time. I think the issue with today's world is how can we reduce the amount of chronic stress we experience? And chronic stress comes from things like overthinking, overworking, just being active all the time. So to me, the goal is how do we change that within our society, within our psyche? And then how do we do it in a way which we can still do the things we need to, i.e. work, parent, whatever it is, but we're still able to replenish, rejuvenate and restore. So that's not really an answer to the question, but I feel like how we best reduce it is understanding our body, understanding what works for us, because there is no one size fits all when it comes to stress management. It's all to do with how your body responds to whatever practice or technique that you have. And knowing when to slot it in and knowing when to do things is also very important. If we are not able to replenish and recharge from the stress we experience, then we're like running on empty, and the more we're running on empty, the more susceptible we are to any sort of like ailment that we can get which is stress related.
And total burnout. And I think
Total burnout.
this has been sadly normalised because we sort of celebrate, oh, I never have a day off, I'm so busy at the moment, and we also celebrate pushing through the pain, pushing through stress, and we mistake that for, again, resilience or, you know, toughing things out. Whereas actually this can be quite serious and detrimental. So like you're saying, rest and replenishing ourselves is so key. That feels like a cultural shift, like something we need, and that's huge. That's a huge shift we need to make.
Yes, yeah. In terms of the aspects of resilience, and resilience does mean pushing through. Resilience does mean pushing through barriers and boundaries. And in some cases, we need to do that. Is imperative, like, for example, parenting or when you've got work things to do. But the one thing I stress with individuals is we need to learn how to rest effectively. Because once we have the ability to rest effectively, then we can replenish from the stresses and strains that we're experiencing, which therefore we're able to recharge back up to a decent level.
So what is rest to you? Because I think it means something different to everybody. How would you advise someone rest properly?
Look at the body. So the body has telltale signs from a physiological perspective what rest actually is and how we transition into rest. There are technologies right now that can see when our body's in a state of stress, when we're in a state of balance, when we're in a state of calm. So, for example, we could go to a meditation class together. My body can go into a real state of rest, your body can go into a state of stress. It's the same activity, but our body's going to react differently to it. So that's why I think it's a very bespoke approach for each individual. We have to find out what works for us, for our body.
So it's good to know that one size doesn't fit all, when actually you've got to work out what works for you. And I guess that's about having self-awareness and seeing that in any given moment when you're doing a restful activity or you are simply doing nothing, that feels really good to you. And just doing that more. Yeah,
doing that strategically, so when you are feeling a sense of stress, then you can rebalance. And like, I'll give an example. I've got kids, very stressful. They're still very young, so when they are getting too much and I'm feeling a sense of stress in the body because I know my telltale signs, I might, for example, go to the bathroom, do what works for me, which is breath work, and then I can enter into the situation a lot more intentional rather than reactionary, which I don't want to do. So whatever works for you, whether it's breathwork, whether it's meditation, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's listening to a certain song, whatever it is, find what works for you and add that within your schedule or routine as and when you need it.
This is so interesting because actually, as you said, stress is going to affect us all. We're all going to feel stress on any given day. But there's a real difference in reacting to stress and responding to stress. So reacting, I would classify as something that's very instant and without too much thought, whereas responding is that pause, is that moment of going, I know that I'm stressed, and you're making a choice as to what to do. And not many of us do that because we're rushing and we're just reacting left, right, and centre. But it's that moment of responding that becomes quite game-changing, I think.
Yes, yeah, because sometimes I choose to be stressed because the situation permits me to be stressed, which is alert, focused. And sometimes I want to deviate or navigate from that and go to a more calmer state. So you're in control of yourself, you're in control of your physiology. And the more you're in control of yourself, the better grasp you have of situations not controlling you.
Is stress ever useful? Can it be our friend?
Yes, 100%.
How come?
Because stress helps us to grow. For example, when we exercise. What exercise stress does, it has a conversation with our body, say, okay, we just went through a task. It was very tough. Let's get better so when we do the task again, we can be more effective. And that's how we get stronger or fitter. When it comes to nutrition, if we were fasting, our body becomes, okay, we're not getting as much food as we were before. How can we be more effective at utilizing the food that we're intaking so that later on we're not in so much of a pitfall? See, the body has a fantastic way of adapting to whatever situation that you're in. So whether you're in a good space or in a bad space, your body will just adapt to that.
And I guess mentally we can do the same as well. We can get better equipped at dealing with things that are mentally stressful, because like you've said, you know, whereas we're not being chased by a tiger anymore, hopefully, what we are doing is combating a lot of mental stress, whether it's from, you know, work or family or just the world around us telling us certain things we don't want to hear. It can feel very overwhelming. So perhaps with practice or that awareness, we can become better at that too.
Yeah. I call that practice something called focus attention training.
Okay.
So basically how we are right now, we're having a conversation. My focus is solely on you. If my focus was on an argument I had yesterday or how I was annoyed earlier this morning with my children or whatever it was, I'm not fully present here. So therefore the feeling of stress could still be flowing from my body. But if I can focus or switch my attention towards where I am currently in the present moment, then I can allow my body to release that stress and I can be in the present moment.
Yeah, I think we forget how much we hold on to things from yesterday, the day before, the week before. It's still cognitively running around our heads, and we need to give ourselves permission to let that go every now and again. Just let it go.
Or just allow our body to naturally transition to what the next thing is we need to focus on. Because focusing on something that happened last week is not going to be beneficial for your here and now. So yeah, just having that ability to do that.
Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was fascinating and it was very, very helpful, and we all need to hear it. If you're feeling super stressed at the moment, if you found any of these tips and techniques helpful, or you've just got something to say about stress, then do pop it into the comments. And if you enjoyed this and you want to see more episodes, then do click subscribe. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you.